Hello everyone, this is going to be a video about teaching your dog not to pull on a leash. It's going to be also about the dog is going to learn to keep his attention, eyes and ears on you. And the dog is going to learn all this by himself. We're not going to speak to the dog. We're not going to give the dog any command. This is purely all learning on her own. I'm really excited to teach you this. I am not a professional myself, but I am teaching you professional techniques that I have learned over the years that really work. This is my first training for this series that I am starting now to use a choke chain. The choke chain needs to be loose around the neck. Let me show you here. Loose around the neck where you can have your fingers about that far away from the neck to the choke chain. And when it's tightened up, you need about 4 inches of play here, like this. If you're totally against using a choke chain, this will also work with a collar. You really cannot mess this up. So if you're against using a choke chain, you can use a collar. The dog is just going to pull on you a lot harder and is not going to respond as quickly. Either way, your dog is going to learn a lot from this training technique. So do not be afraid to do this. Your dog is going to learn a lot. So with this training, do not speak to your dog. Do not give any commands. We're not going to correct her. We're not going to tell her no. We're not going to tell her good girl. We're not going to praise her. We're not going to do nothing. We're not even going to try to let the dog see us looking at her. So even if the dog, this is a 25-foot long line. You can buy this at Tractor Supply under the horse section for a lunge line, and then also the choke chain. If your dog is like a 115-pound dog and you're only 115 pounds yourself, I really recommend the choke chain. If the dog is going to pull on you hard with this. Or if your dog's a really hyper, high energy dog, you're going to need a choke chain. You want to be at the end of this leash. You want to hold the leash with 2 hands up to your chest like this. And I'm going to walk in a square. I'm going to keep my walking distance short for the sake of the video, but you can make your walking distance very large. Try to have a point where you're going so the dog don't think you're just aimlessly walking around. So have your point of destination, walk like you are meaning business, and walk to your point where you stop, count 15 seconds. If the dog is ignoring you, that is when you turn the other direction and you walk like with seriousness in the opposite direction. So if you don't understand what I'm saying, watch me closely and watch what I am doing. Remember, hold your leash like this because it can jerk on you pretty serious. So let's get started. And this is what I needed. She came up to me. This is a good point for me to stop for the day. She was a little stressed out a couple of times. but she started following me on her own. And as you seen, I didn't talk to her or speak to her. So she's doing this on her own actions. So I meant to tell you before you start the training that you should put the dog in a crate or a kennel for a half an hour before your training. And then now that you've quit the training, take the choke chain off, put the dog in a crate or a kennel for a half an hour after, and this lets them think about what they've just done. And you notice we're doing this without any treats. And then if you want to give a treat after you let the dog out of the crate, then you can do that. But we're stopping this at a good, you can see she's choosing to stay with me on her own. And the next time you do this, she's going to improve greatly. And by the third time you do this, she's going to be right by your side without you ever speaking to her. And then we're going to graduate to a short leash. So until next time, we will see you at our next video.